And I'll tell you guys since we're all friends. Every character I write has a piece of me in them. Hi, I'm Lee Bardugo. You're listening to the GrishaCast.
Welcome to GrishaCast, episode 129. In this episode, we will be discussing chapters 27 through 29 of Lee Bardugo's Ninth House. This is your host, Eric.
And I'm Terry from Nashville, Tennessee. This is your podcast for all things Grishaverse.
A world created by the one and only favorite secret society member, Lee Bardugo. Moi savienyi, casters.
Hi.
Yeah, how was that?
That was great.
I know. So, we got some listener cities.
Okay, first we have Cooley in Malaysia.
Ooh, thank you. And next we have Cork, Ireland.
Ooh.
Cork. Mm-hmm. Love it. Cork. I don't know. Cute name.
It is cute.
It sure is. So, anyways, I might sound weird because I'm in my head right now, listeners, because I've had a sound check where apparently I talk too loud. But I've known that from the beginning. It's not that I talk too loud. I just get excited and probably blow up the speakers and everything. So
I think it's because when we're doing the sound check, you talk quietly. And then when we get into it, then you get
it's
loud.
Me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So,
but we love that you get excited. That's part of the fun.
Yay! Well, I'm glad. I'm still going to try to work on it and, sound good. I did actually listen to our last podcast just because I hadn't listened since we had done the new set thing. And I was like, I should give that a try. And actually, we sounded good. I was impressed.
Chris does a great job.
Oh, yeah. Chris does an amazing job. I know that. I was wondering how, I would, I don't know. I just figured for some reason it might sound different, but no, it sounds great. So, anyways, yeah.
Well, good.
I know. Amazing.
I am the worst. I never listen to us. I think it's because I was there and I, lived it, so I don't feel the need to relive it.
Mm-hmm.
But, then is that bad? Should I be going back and listening to myself?
No, it's, and the only reason I'm happy that I got to hear it because I know that we sounded so good and because Chris did it. And also I'm glad I listened to the last episode because I made a mistake and accidentally called Trinity K. Bonet. Mm-hmm. I said Trinity K. Bonet when I meant Trinity the Tuck.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
So I'll say this. I was weirded out at first. This is on the show, by the way. Hi, everybody.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. It's the man behind the curtain.
I was weirded out first when you said you didn't listen to the show. And because I thought, well, how do you know how it sounds? And I realized you're in it. But then it dawned on me that I listened to the show about 4 times because I hear you doing it. And then I edit the podcast and then edit the video cast. So I've listened to it multiple times, so you don't have to.
Aww.
But you guys do sound much more relaxed. I hope our listeners appreciate that.
Oh, good.
Well, thank you. It's so nice to hear from you, too. You should chime in more often, especially when you're...
I do, but nobody gets to hear it.
I know. So, maybe...
I can't say some of the things on the podcast that I say into your ears.
No, not everything. But there are some things you can. And, our listeners would love to hear you. I mean...
You can chime in with an opinion every once in a while.
Exactly.
You don't want my opinion.
Oh, yes, we do. Come on. For all those listeners out there that enjoy hearing Chris, send us something.
Let us know.
Let us know if you would like.
Send a cease and desist letter for talking on the show.
Oh, Lord. Actually, I think it's fantastic to hear from you, Chris, because you've got a really good radio.
Yeah.
I think you've got a very soothing, good, podcast radio voice.
So I'm putting everybody to sleep, which is my goal.
No, you have a good voice.
But what we really need to do is come up with a way that I can tell you if I'm talking in your ear or talking on the show.
Yes.
Yes, that would be helpful.
Because otherwise we start talking to a gray.
Yes, we do. And you know how well I work with change and surprise. I stumble. So, I mean, I even heard it when I was listening to the last podcast, because I remember hearing a space where I know that you said something, and I was like, that's funny.
There's like a pause.
There is.
And then there's like a weird.
Because then I try to
back.
explain it, which is even worse, kind of.
Yeah.
Because then I'm like, let me try to explain the weirdness that just happened.
And I have to make it short and sweet, because if I'm lengthy in your ear, you'd have that pause. But if I say something really quickly, I have to find a break, because if I start talking when you're talking, it makes you pause anyway. Maybe I'll put a light. How about a big red light that flashes when I'm actually on the show?
That would be fantastic.
And an alarm, like,
Like on air.
Warning, Chris is coming.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that would be great. I think we should definitely get a light. I think that'd be fun.
Yep.
So, well, I don't know. Are you still there? Are you gone? Okay. So he's okay. Well, there we go, guys.
I love how we have to check.
I know. Is he still there? Can we still talk to you?
Quick, talk about him.
Well, that was a nice little surprise, wasn't it?
It was. It's always nice to hear from our producer man.
Yeah. So, first off, before we get started, I do want to, show off my beautiful shirt. It is my unsee shirt, the fold. It's kind of like, it's really cute. And I love some of the different things that I got from the New York Comic-Con Grishaverse shop. So, there's multiple shirts that are similar. There's like a Ketterdam one, and there's the Ice Court, and they all look like travel posters. And I think it's so cool. And then second, for those of you guys watching on YouTube, our image for this evening is the first tomb of St. Elmo's. Yeah.
St. Elmo's fire.
The actual one. So, anyways, well, I haven't had my tea. Tell me what's going on, girl. How you doing?
The tea is better this time.
Is it?
Because, we got the measurements.
Oh, yeah.
More correct.
It was pretty strong last time.
It was very strong.
And then after the show, I couldn't stop, bouncing.
Yes. Yeah, you were very happy last week.
We were trying to come up with the title, and for some reason, I was obsessed with, making it one word. And now, since you guys have all at least heard it and know what we're talking about, I kept on, wanting it to have to do with the fact of, a mouth.
Yes.
And, it was so funny.
Eating. Chewing. Mouth.
Terry was
teeth.
we can't give that part away. So I was like, okay, so I can't use the word mouth. And that's when I was like, lick. Chew. It was crazy categories.
It was like this obsessive, must talk about the mouth.
One syllable. I just thought it was funny because then you brought it to my attention, and it was just so funny to me because you're just like, are you trying to just fit it in one word?
Is there a reason why you just want one word?
And I was like, oh, no, didn't notice that. Although it's funny. So
yeah, it was funny. It was a good time.
It was.
Fueled by caffeine.
Yeah, I wish that we had some of the snippets that we have of getting ready for the show, and then after the show, I really wish we had still a way of recording some of that stuff, because those would be some amazing bloopers.
Hilarity ensues.
Oh.
But many, 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 many times they're inappropriate.
Yes. They are.
99% of the time.
Yeah, and you know what? We are covering an adult novel, so I mean, we are, it's okay. We can do bloopers with a little thing that says, "Hey, these are not appropriate for sensitive ears."
The downside of doing that on my podcast, we realized after.
Are you talking?
Yeah, I'm on the air.
Oh my God.
I don't have my light yet.
Okay.
So we would always sit around beforehand and chat, and then after the show, we would also sit around, and we had some of the best conversations afterwards. So we had this discussion about, well, we should just keep the mics rolling. But the problem is, if you know it's happening, you say nothing because you're so afraid. It's what has to be natural. So
Yeah.
I'll just start recording you guys when you think I'm not, and that can be your kind of after
Perfect.
show.
I would love.
Great. I love non-consensual recording.
Yes, sounds great. Goes right along with our chapters too. So
NCR.
goodness. Well, listeners, you are. I mean, that's a bit like we're all lucky, and we all can make a wish tonight. He spoke twice in one episode, and you heard him. So, kind of makes me feel like I really am insane because it's like we hear him all the time, but you don't, and it's like
That's what Alex feels like.
yeah, you're right. Oh, God.
I swear I hear them. I swear I see them. They
Ugh.
exist.
So, before we get into these chapters, because I really am excited to get into them, how are you doing? What's going on with you?
I'm good. I realized this week.
I am fine.
Fine. Everything's fine. I realized this week that there is some fine TV going on right now.
Tell me about
There's
it.
so much happening all at once, and it's so odd that it's happening that way because typically
Oh, yeah, it's usually.
it's scattered around. So we've got, first of all, Big Brother, which is my favorite show ever. I don't want to hear it.
Don't worry.
I know I get roasted for that all the time. And that it's at the point where it's getting really good.
Oh, good. I'm glad it's reached a point.
Well, yeah, because we're at like that final like push towards the end where everybody's gameplay starts going into overdrive. I won't get into that. But go Monty.
Hashtag Monty.
Hashtag Monty. And we've got obviously House of Dragons, which amazing.
Okay.
I was on the fence about it because we know how it ends.
Mhm.
It ends terribly.
Right.
So I was a little weird about do I even want to like get involved with it because I already know what's going to happen. But it's really good.
Okay.
And then we have Ring of Power.
So that I have started, and I have loved what I've watched. I've only watched one episode, but I'm loving what I have seen.
They spent some money
So
on that.
it is good, and that one's on Amazon Prime, right?
Yeah.
So, there's another one that it came out maybe about a year ago, and it's similar, and it was, oh my gosh, I can't remember. There's another fantasy that is so, I know I told you to watch it, and I can't remember. Keep telling me, and
There's several.
Oh, the Wheel, something.
Wheel of Time.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
But anyway.
It's similar as in fantasy.
Right. And I'm still waiting for Carnival Row to come back.
Is that coming back?
I thought it was, and if it doesn't, they're stupid.
See, that's the problem with
because
like
it was
TV.
so good.
Yeah.
It was that like dirty, dingy. Anyway.
Oh my god, I loved it. It was amazing.
I know.
Like
It was so good. It was fantasy, but it was also this like dirty, London-y, like so good. And then we have Serpent Queen.
Yep, and I haven't heard of that.
Which there's only been one episode so far, and it's really good.
Oh, okay.
And it just seems like all these things have come out like all at once, like all these high dollar, high action period piece things that like typically wouldn't all come out at the same time. I'm wondering if they're trying to compete with House of Dragon.
See,
But both Serpent Queen's on Starz. And then Ring of Power is on Amazon. So no, they're not on the same thing.
Ever since Game of Thrones, I actually noticed there was a huge change in all of a sudden, like, people recognizing that fantasy was a great, like, I don't know, it's a great genre, but it's a great, like, TV show, and if you pick the right series, and you do a good job of it, like, you can really make some money, and, because Game of Thrones, like, I think, like, when that was it took all the way to the finale season getting ready for it. Because remember, like, how amped up the entire world was for that season? There wasn't a single person on this earth that I don't think knew what Game of Thrones
Oh,
was.
yeah.
But ever since then, all these, like, other, like, fantasy, like, series have, like, come out, and some of them have been really good. The Wheel of Time that I was told you about, like, I mean, on Amazon, that is really good. Like, I mean, I was really impressed with that because that was Amazon. And then I love some of these fantasies. I can't. So the one that's on Amazon right now, the Ring one, is that based off? Do you know? Is that based off of actual like written Tolkien, or is this like kind of like fan fictiony? Like, did someone like?
I am not sure if it's a fully realized novel. And I know the fans of those things are
No.
like
Yeah.
to the death, so don't come for me.
We don't know. Yeah.
But everything that I've read about it is factual for that world. So, like the little hobbity creatures, the Harfoots,
The Hobbits? No. Like, I mean, like.
they're hobbits, but they're
Yeah.
like a form of hobbit.
Okay.
But they don't have the giant feet like the hobbits from Lord of the Rings, the movies.
Yeah.
Because this is set like before that. So these Harfoots are like a branch of hobbits.
Interesting.
And they eventually breed the Bigfoot ones that we see later on. So there's a lot of interesting things that I don't know because that's not my fandom. But reading about it and reading about like where the different things come from has been really interesting.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to read them. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm not going to read them. I
And-
tried. It's not my cup of tea. I thoroughly enjoy watching it,
oh yeah.
but the writing was not for me, and that's okay.
Girl, I'm the same way. Like, I actually have been. I've
can't
never
get
tried
through
it because
Game
I'm
of Thrones
so.
either.
Game of Thrones.
The writing is
Yeah, I tried Game of Thrones, and yeah, I even had the like special like Apple iBook that had like all these like extra like things to like help you, and like it's a great story, but I need it to like pick its pace up. I don't need all these words. I need like action, and yeah, I will never try Tolkien because I'm so scared because
it's
like
a lot.
and like he's an amazing writer. I mean, these
Yes.
stories are incredible, especially like I mean, I remember growing up and watching that like the Hobbit like cartoon that they had.
Okay.
There was some kind of cartoon that was out, and like that was all I knew about it. And then I remember when we were out of high school, but when the first Lord of the Rings came out,
It was beautiful.
yeah, those special effects for that time was like incredible.
Yeah.
And I've always been one of those people that like I wouldn't watch a show if the special effects weren't good because like I couldn't for some reason. I just like I'd have a problem. I think I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I love the Lord of the Ring things that they're doing right now because I just love prequel stuff. And someone was telling me that this is, I hope they're right. This is the story of the creation of those rings, and that seems really cool to me.
It's like where the characters from
Yeah.
the first movies, like kind of where they would like come in. And Alden's been watching it,
Really?
and he he fell asleep during the second episode, but he watched the first episode, and he was like, "Why is this like D&D?"
Oh.
So
Aw.
bless him.
That's sweet.
But now we're gonna have to go back and watch the movies too. But he thoroughly enjoyed it. It's like right up his alley.
He needs to watch the adventure Vox Machina. It's on Amazon,
Okay.
and it's a cartoon, but it's like it's based off of D&D, but it's really good. It's really cool. I loved it. But yeah, there's some great TV. Like I mean,
And we're getting close to the playoffs for baseball, so that's exciting. So I'm getting nothing done because I'm glued to the TV.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, you go your butch self. So proud of you. You're my top.
I knew that wouldn't
Woo.
like.
Oh, girl, I don't know. Lord. Someone was having a conversation about baseball. At my job, like I hear just like I I work in a room and I love everybody there. It's just like I work in a room with all these other moms and they just some of the things I hear I like try to chime in and I'll think I know what I'm talking about, but I was like I heard this story that was going on behind me and they were talking about how this fight broke out at this game because the coach did something with his face mask. Like, I mean, like, or like, did, like, I mean, or somebody did something with a face mask. And I was like, face mask? Like, they took off their, like, COVID face mask and, like,
Oh.
got in, like, a trouble. Like, I mean, got in a fight over it. And when I can't remember what I said, but, like, I kind of was like, mentioned that and everybody, like, cracked up. What is a face mask now in baseball?
In baseball,
Or maybe yeah, it's
there's a face.
it
There's a
not like it's I
the umpire and the catcher wear,
okay.
but in football, there's
Maybe that's what
100% like that's even like a call, like when you're.
that's what it is.
When you're out.
Yeah, it was football. Oh, so that's a call.
I mean, it's a call, but it's you can't grab at it. So like, if
Oh
it's
gosh,
a penalty,
we're getting way too
yeah,
far.
that's why I'm trying. That's why I'm
Yeah,
like pausing because
sorry.
I'm like I don't know how much I want to get into this.
Yeah, I'm confused.
But anyway,
It's
that
a-
would be football, and you can't grab onto someone else's.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Well, you know, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I don't like sports. I don't know anything about them. I made it through kickball and yep, dodgeball, which isn't really a sport. Um, soccer until I got like kicked so hard in the face I got knocked out on the field, so that ended it for me. And then I did enjoy tennis for a little bit because that was fun. I liked banging that little ball around. I was really good playing against the wall. But yeah, that's about it. Football really confuses me. Baseball I get, it's just too small, and hockey seems like a lot of work for a little puck flying around. But anyways, yeah, that's yeah, I'm not a sports kind of guy.
Yeah, we're about to get to the playoffs
Oh, well,
in baseball, so it's exciting times.
go Dolphins.
That's football.
Yay. Yay. Mhm.
Touchdown.
How about those oh my god. What I think that's similar to a line from the Birdcage like how about those Dolphins? Yeah. I think that's what Nathan Lane says, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, then please educate yourselves and go find the movie The Birdcage.
See,
It is
we
streamed.
had to exit out of sports and go to super gay.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Super gay and amazing. Birdcage is Robin Williams and Nathan Lane in a movie that is based off of actually a French musical called Le Cage aux Folles, and it is incredible. Oh, so good. So, but go educate yourself. It's a really funny show. Movie. Okay. So, I can't believe, like, this is kind of exciting. We're, like, at the, like, almost end, like, next week, we're going to be
Yeah,
finishing.
we're finishing up next week.
Oh.
And I'm looking forward to discussing these chapters.
Mm.
Like, we haven't discussed them because we kind of made this thing like we can't talk about them outside of the show because then
We don't have
we
anything to
won't
talk
talk about it as much.
Yep.
So, but we did text yesterday. So I'm
That was
interested.
funny.
It was a very quick text, so don't worry. We still have lots of stuff to discuss. But I'm interested in discussing them because we had differing emotions about.
I could pretty much summarize the text. I had gotten done with my reading and I was really excited. I was like, oh my, especially where it ended, like at the
Have
end.
you read the chapters?
Yes, and like Terry texted back, "No, I'm about to sit down," and I was like, "Ooh, girl, you get ready." Well, a couple of hours go by, and then I get this text from Terry, and I can't remember. Like it was just,
Did I miss something?
yeah, did I miss something? And
I feel like I missed something.
yeah,
Because someone else had said something about these chapters
being exciting
being exciting.
because they
And then, like, I'm reading through them and I'm going, what? So I feel like I must have zoned out during, like, a very exciting part. Because
maybe
I didn't
because
have...
I think so because this is like we have the like I mean we've got the big like climactic part like it's just let's get into it. Let's talk. Okay. So, and I think I shouldn't have said chapters. It's more like I mean they all like they work really well together, but it's chapter 29 that is what we finished with, right? That is the one where is really exciting. But to start off, I first off, it's very like some of these lines are like I feel. Let me read this one. Um, and it describes Alex and how she felt after like pretty much after that entire first chapter, which is like all about like she woke up in the hospital and then pretty much finds out how everything that she's fought for and Dawes and Darlington, no matter what, the societies are like they're the money and the power and that prestige is way above and stronger than than they will ever be. Like I mean, it's just and it's sad.
Yeah, but that's reality.
Mhm.
That's where a lot of our presidents come from. They go through these societies
Yep.
because it's a huge protection and it's all about who you know. So,
It
yeah,
i-
it's reality.
I love how Alex's character, though. Like I mean, like I love her more and more, especially now towards the end of it, because it's just like she definitely is someone like I mean that is is not that like she didn't come from money. She like I mean she is but also like the unfortunate story is playing out where people of power and wealth use people that they know they can. And so the line was she was doing what any wounded animal would. She was going where the monsters couldn't reach her. That's the very end of that first chapter. And
Yeah.
I just, the feeling of defeat, I feel like was so like heavy in that line. And especially towards the end of that chapter, it's like you can feel like Alex just like, dang.
Well, she's changing. We knew that she was kind of changing when she wanted the summer job and she was more invested in it. But I think we can really feel the change in this particular chapter, because she's I don't know, she's concerned about what's going on. She's invested in it. She's invested in her position within it.
Her life.
Um,
She's,
yeah, so I feel like she's she's changed and matured through all of this. Even when like uh Shadow's like, "Here, I'll give you a 3.5 GPA for your trouble."
right.
And like druggy Alex probably would have been like, "Cool, whatever, like yay." But she's actually questioning it.
Yeah.
Like that's not right. I
She-
wanted to earn it. So
Yep.
just things like that. But I guess the important things are that Shadow Dean Sandow survived.
Oh my god, you actually said his name.
I know. I feel like every once in a while I need to, so I don't confuse everybody. But he's alive. He made it through.
Yeah.
Everyone but Blake basically is alive. Dawes is alive.
Yep.
Turner's there. But Blake is no more.
No,
He got eaten.
he got eaten, and also Dawes smashed him in the head
Yeah.
with that like thing. However, I remember like I'd never known that like whatever that thing was, the head like was named that. And I know it's making such a great sentence that I'm trying to say, but
The bust was the third.
the bust.
Yeah.
I'd never known that. So a bust is like a marble or stone
Yeah.
head.
Where it's like from here up
Yeah.
and without the shoulders. Yeah.
Oh, it's the bust. I get it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Neat.
We're learning all the time.
We are. So,
But yeah, that's basically that chapter. She leaves.
and she's like,
She like takes all the IVs and stuff out, and she's just like, "See ya." So yeah.
Another thing that is interesting, I think, is how she starts to, well, it's not interesting, it's just sad, but she's correlating how, like, I mean, really, to be a member of Lethe, she compares herself to, like, knights that really are just, like, I mean, they're being sacrificed. Like, I mean, just,
Yeah.
they're just kind of, like, used and vulnerable, and also the connection that she makes with, like, I mean, like Darlington and her. Like, I mean, how like Dean Sandow came to both of them when they were in very vulnerable spaces. And if you're like, I mean, it's just like, I mean, Dean Sandow, like, I mean, like, it was very like strategic too. He like, we find out that he paid out, like, I mean, Alex owed drug dealers money, and Dean Sandow like paid like all these like crazy like amounts just to like,
Yeah. We're just paying people off to keep things quiet and
Yeah.
under wraps, and yeah.
so anyways, and then the next chapter I think is interesting just because I love what Lee did by bringing her mom in like
Yeah.
so randomly towards the end of this book. Like it does, like it almost doesn't make sense. It's like, why are we?
Because her mom has been absent through all of this craziness. And I don't know if we view her mom positively. But I also think that, I mean, her mom is like flighty hippie chick, but I also think that Alex in the state that she was in beforehand couldn't accept her love because of the state
disconnected.
she was in. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she like falls into it here. She
It's-
really lets her mom take care of her.
Yeah, she's in that vulnerable place, and she really is needing. She's needing to be coddled. She's needing someone to like kind of like love and take care of her. And all of a sudden, like, I mean, Mercy and her mom show up, and she like, I mean, it's actually kind of like pretty and like it's beautiful in the sense. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't mean to be so cheesy, but like I love the interaction between Alex and her roommate, especially because like Alex is like, "How did you find me?" And she's like, "Well, you are my roommate, and like I have had to follow you a couple times here, and you were gone for a couple days. I would hope you would do the same for me." Like, I mean, and
Yeah.
it's just, I love that. I mean,
I think we're seeing Alex letting people in more.
yes.
I mean, and not
Absolutely.
just the ghosts. Like
Yes,
actual
yeah.
people.
Yes, she is tearing down those walls, scared to like get close to people, and she's making like she's being real, you know? She's like, I mean, she's got this whole facade of like this hard, badass, you know, chick that you shouldn't mess with.
Which is interesting because as she's letting her mom and Mercy in, she's pushing North away at the same time. She keeps telling him no, go away. She's even like giving him death words, and so that was an interesting thing. I don't know.
So why do you think that?
I don't know. I don't know if she was trying to separate life for a little bit. Like,
I think she was mad at him. I think it was like when you get like hurt.
yeah,
It's kind of like a little immature. Like, I mean, she's just like she's mad because like he hasn't been able to help find the different things he like from the like other side of the veil. Like, I mean, like I think she like that's what I personally think. I think she literally is just like that would be some information that could possibly help her, and she like she doesn't have it. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think she's being a little immature about, but you know, it's interesting.
I think there might be a little bit of like, I have my mom and my roommate here.
Well, that
and
too, yeah.
She's trying to kind of be quote unquote normal for a little bit, because she said she also, in that what you were talking about, she wants to go where the monsters can't be.
Yep.
So I think that's also a thing too. Like she needed a break from that too. So I think there's a lot going on, but I just loved that letting people in and trying to disconnect from the Greys for a little bit.
Yeah. And
But North is mad.
Yeah,
He doesn't like it.
North is definitely trying to get her attention. And towards the end of this chapter, I don't know if you caught on to this. It's a small little detail, but I think it's interesting. It's another quote. What do you want? Bellbaum had asked her. Safety, comfort, to feel unafraid. I want to live, to grow old, Alex thought as she pulled the curtains closed. I want to sit on my porch and drink foul-smelling tea and yell at passers-by. I want to survive this world that keeps trying to destroy me. End quote. So the reason I pulled that one out is because that's an Alex wants to live. Like, I mean, that's actually Alex, like, saying she wants to live. She wants to, like, and I just think there's a lot of growth there, you know, and to actually have her think that it's, and see, that's why I think these chapters like line up so well, because like, so we've got this chapter where it's like her mom's coming in, she's getting like, and she's getting this connection with her mother. She asks about her dad. That's right. She just randomly asks, and like, I was hoping that would go somewhere, but it didn't,
No, it didn't.
Because her mom gave the weirdest reply, which was that he was like a person that drank like small amounts of poison or something, like, or
She said, she's like, have you heard of the arsenic or arsenic? No.
It's arsenic. I think you're right.
Arsenics is, I don't know. Anyway, so these people would drink small amounts of arsenic in order to.
So that's real.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I don't think she was saying her dad did that.
Right.
She was saying that it was like that living with him.
Exactly.
Or being around him.
Yeah. You would be like, I'm guessing that supposedly these people that were taking small amounts of arsenic were doing it for some kind of like benefit that it might help. However, it's also doing long-term damage, I'm assuming.
Have you ever heard of the arsenic eaters? They would ingest a little bit of arsenic every day. It made their skin clear and their eyes bright, and they felt wonderful. And all the while, they were just drinking poison.
Yeah. So
that in the body of a person.
So that is how she describes her dad. And then and then she has the memory, I think, of like her grandmother, when her hearing about how, I guess, when her mother brought her dad to meet, I guess, her grandmother, that he turned around and walked away. And she, like, I mean, it's so interesting. Like, I mean, just like.
So do we think that Dad has the same powers?
There's
That's what
gotta
I'm.
be something there.
That's what I'm getting from this and I think that's what she's wondering, because she starts asking like, did he do anything weird?
Exactly.
So she's starting to wonder if her powers are genetic. We know Mom doesn't have it.
Right.
But we also know Mom is like
She would
new
love to.
age and
Oh, yeah.
hippie-ish. So it would actually fall in line for Mom to fall for somebody that was
Oh,
like
absolutely.
that. So I think hopefully maybe we'll get more of that
Mhm.
in the next book.
I think that's where we're going.
Yeah.
Because there's got to be a reason for these little hints.
Mhm.
So let's see. And then it's the next chapter that really kind of things get like very interesting. I found it very I loved this chapter. I loved the build up to it. And there's also some funny lines in it. So one, we definitely will make sure that this is an adult podcast, so I'm about to read a quote that does have a curse word in it. So get ready.
Curse word alert.
Okay, so the quote is, "This is when she's still trying to run away from North, but she's not doing too good of a job because North has pretty much followed her to class. Alex couldn't be bothered with putting on a good front. North had possessed her. He'd been inside her. He might as well have shoved his hand up her ass and used her as a puppet." End quote. When I read that line, I laughed hysterically out loud because I just thought that was
Yeah.
so funny for some reason. But anyways, this is where things get interesting.
Yeah.
Because finally, I guess when North goes inside Alex during class,
Non-consensually.
yeah, yep, he forces his way in.
He just possesses her. Just bloop.
Yep.
And he gives her 3 years.
Yeah, she blacks out, and then when she kind of wakes up a little bit, she sees that she's written down these it's these different years.
Yeah.
And
And she's in the middle of class when all this is going on.
yeah, so
And so she has a bloody nose, and the teacher's like, you all right there?
yeah, it's awkward. And it's just your typical, I'm in the middle of class, I'm going to be fighting with the ghost. No one's going to think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that she has this chance to kind of run away and not pay attention, but North made her write down these 3 years. And then she
Have to go to the magic place.
and I'm so glad she did. And see, that's why I think the last chapter was so important, because I don't think that Alex would have continued on with doing some of this stuff if she didn't have the hope and the encouragement that she got from her mother. And just the will, I know that sounds weird, but I feel like it's just because she was really, really, when she went to the hutch, she wanted to be gone from everything. And
She'd had enough.
exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like it took her mom and Mercy and also North to get her to what we're about to see.
Yeah.
Because she starts to investigate what those years were, and she uses the really cool library thing. How do you pronounce that book? I keep on calling it the alma mater, but I know it's not that. The Albert something.
Albemarle?
Albemarle? I wish, gosh, I think it's so cool. Long story short, she uses it and figures out that Darlington's notes actually were stored there. Smart. That makes so much sense. And she figures out, she finally lines up, she finds his notes, and she lines up that Daisy, which was North's, remember, fiance that was killed, was the first in a possible long string of murders that Darlington was investigating. And Darlington also in this list listed the names, and then she figures out it's also the trusts of the people that were funded the different societies,
Mhm.
and Alex realizes that the murder dates match the dates the societies were founded. So 1854, the year of Daisy's murder, was the same year that Skull and Bones was founded. So it's like she's got this.
It's where the trust had been acquired for the land.
Okay, yes, so like, and it's so cool to all of a sudden, like, I love the way that Lee wrote this chapter because, like, I don't know, I was just going along with it, and it's just we keep on getting these pieces of information. We don't know what it is, but it's like we then like we're finding out that like there's it's women. It's women that have been murdered. And also we find out that Tara, Daisy, and then like the housekeeper are not like in the veil. North tells her,
Yeah.
and he says because it when Daisy died, it was something different happened. It was like very abnormal death, and it's just interesting. Like, I mean, something like definitely has like changed. I wonder, what I don't know. So I love that part. And we're just like all of a sudden getting all these pieces of information. And so, what are you thinking so far? Like,
I mean, so I think we said something about this maybe last week, but we knew that the following chapters were going to have to tie some things together. So I was expecting, like, we have to know why all of these. I know, like, we had the drugs and the whatever, but like the fact that all of the houses were tied together through Tara, blonde-haired girl, we knew that was a thing.
mhm.
So I knew at some point like we were gonna have to make all those connections. So it wasn't a shock, I guess is like the thing. Because I knew that was coming, that we had to make some sort of connection, and we also had to figure out why Daisy's death was so important,
Right.
because it wouldn't be random. Like, just because it was this ghost fiance, it has to be tied in somehow because it's a book. So,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I think it just kind of it starts to put like a pretty little bow on certain things.
There's it's very we're just getting some info, and it's like all just kind of like coming to a head, and we because we think that well, I didn't, but I mean, like, we all kind of like it was told, that I mean the murder had been solved, and all of a sudden, like, I mean, she's making the connection that Darlington also,
He had made those connections.
yep, he had made those connections, and that all of a sudden, like, and I love the fact, like, I love that we don't know how yet, but that there's a crazy way of like killing a murder that can create a tomb, and that is so interesting. And she starts all of a sudden realizing that Dean Sandow had how much control he actually had, and it's just like it's all so manipulated. And you called it from the beginning. You always were like, Dean Sandow is shady. I
Yeah.
don't know how. And
So she's wondering if, because he knew, like, she's wondering if he knew how much Darlington knew, and maybe it was Sandow who set the trap for
yeah,
Darlington. Because we also knew that whatever ritual he was doing to bring him back was wrong. So,
and see, and it makes sense because
yeah.
remember, like, supposedly we heard murder, and so like it maybe that was actually Darlington, and
Mhm.
he was screaming at Shadow Man, "Hey, you try to kill me!"
Yeah.
Like, and
Murderer.
yep,
Yeah.
and Saint Elmo's, like, I feel like is So that is the one place that, like, I mean, it's like we don't know really yet, but it's like what it's like kind of assuming is that, like, I mean, Tara's death was having to do with him trying to, like, at least I think, trying to build another tomb
Yeah.
and for St. Elmo's, which was the weird weather ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, and it makes sense because also, like, Dean Sandow said it was like such an important year for finances, and he had gone through this divorce, and it's just, I don't know. It's also in a way really sad because I know this is fantasy, but the way that this power actually, like, I mean, power and prestige like this really do exist,
Yeah.
especially in like places like secret societies or secret societies because of that. Like, yeah, it's a lot of money, and it's the kind of power that people have, and it's anyways, it's just so I thought it was like, a really cool way to end it, especially the last like line where she just like says, let's go play night.
Well, we have
Oh, there's more. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Aiton, that like comes back, one of the guys from her past. And I only bring that up because she kind of stands up for herself. She's like, "Yep, I killed them, and yeah, I'm going to yell." But so
Oh, and it's
one
Aton, by the way. Actually, I know
Okay.
that because I'm
Aiton.
because I'm Jewish, and I'm not. I was about to say like I'm Israeli. I'm not Israeli. but
Eaton.
I know.
So he says a line that stuck out to me, and I'm wondering if it's going to play a part in the future.
Okay.
But he says, "Once you are a chump, it's like a tattoo. Everyone can see it." So I'm wondering if
Oh.
that goes back to play into the tattoos that were removed from her.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know, but because my brain does weird things where I pick
Yeah.
out a random line and I'm like, I wonder if that has something to do with it. So I just wanted to put a pin in it
Yeah.
and bring it up. It might mean nothing.
Hey.
But it was such a big scene for her tattoos to be removed.
Absolutely. It was. It
And
was
then
beautiful.
that's a weird line to. Anyway, so I just wanted to.
It is weird. It's also like because I mean it's a flashback that she has of Aton, right? Like I mean, Aton doesn't actually like come. Like I mean, it's
No, he went to see her in the hospital.
okay. So, oh, that's right. But he went to go see her in the hospital when she like right before Dean Sandow showed up. So it's like okay, yeah. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
And it's I still feel like there's so much more that's
Yeah, that
about
we're not going to get to
I know.
in
And
this next week. So it's going to be the next book.
and so the last line she does call Turner, and she's like, "Come on, we got to go to the president's house," which is the president of Yale, and she's like, "Let's go play night," which I love because I mean she's referring to actually the first chapter we read in this where she talks about how the members of Lethe are knights, and they like are out there fighting for like trying to keep everybody safe, but yet they are
I think it refers to the chess piece.
well that
knight.
too, yeah.
Because
I mean,
in chess, the knight is a throwaway piece.
yeah. So
Yeah.
since they like yes, I couldn't word it that way. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
'Cause I don't think it has anything to do with like the armored
Oh, no.
knights. It's like this piece that like has a big part to play, but if you lose it, then it's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's what the Lethe members are to Shadow. And
In his chess game. Yeah.
exactly. So let's go play Knight. Which sounds interesting because she's gotta have like, something's gonna be planned. And she's gotta somehow also explain this to Turner, who I think like do you think Turner, like, I mean, believes everything or thinks something is shady about how, like, what went down. Because everything, we didn't really discuss it, but we know everything got covered up. And it got covered up in such, like, a really, like, weird way to, like, way too easily, way too, like...
I think he accepted it surface level and was like, yep, that's it. Cool. Case dismissed or problem solved or whatever. So just because of the character, the way it's written. So I think he's going to be like, what? Explain everything to me. And then she's going to have to give the rundown. I think that's how we're
getting.
Yeah.
He's probably, like, pissed. He's probably at home. He probably has this ritual that, like, after solving a case, he does. He, like, gets home. He
probably makes some boring meal.
He takes off his nice suit. He probably,
takes a
like...
shower at precisely 92 degrees.
Yep, and starts... He has one of those huge stereos that from, like, our days that, like, magically is still working. That, like, I mean, like, it's got this CD deck and everything, and, like, he plays kind of like American Psycho.
American Psycho. I was like, Sade, and you're like, American Psycho.
Well, he's probably just sitting down to his spaghetti bolognese.
Yeah.
Ready to, like, enjoy his red wine.
He's like, oh, done.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, a call comes through.
Yeah.
And it's like, by the way, you got it wrong.
It's this girl again.
I know. And I know. I actually was I surprised myself. I thought I was going to continue reading, and I didn't.
Yeah, I put it down.
Yeah, I did too. So,
because I didn't want to have my discussion marred by, like, knowing
what actually happens
next. Yeah.
So, but yeah, exciting.
So next week. Yes. That's it for the book.
It was good. I liked it. So I know we've got one more episode, but so far, like, I mean, what do you think of this book compared to, like, I mean, I know it's so different from Lee's, like, Grishaverse, but it's still her writing and it's still her style, and it's just she gets to have more fun with this, I think. And I think it's very her.
It is very her. I mean, I'm saying this in, like, the most loving way possible.
And we haven't finished it yet either.
I don't mean this in any sort of negative way. It's predictable in the Lee way. Like, Lee always surprises us, so there's still surprises that happen.
Right.
But the way, like, the flow of it.
You also, I will say this to all our listeners, Terry is never surprised by anything. No. She is just, like, she has everything figured out way before. She's like, she sees all... I think last episode I was talking about how Lee, like, puts out all the dots, and then all of a sudden things, like, start to, like, they're connecting, and all of a sudden all the, like, dots are, like, the lines are connecting and everything. Terry, like, gets all that done way before any of us are doing any of that. And she sees, like, I don't know, you see things and, like, read things that, like, it's just, like, stick out to you. That it's just, like, I don't know. It's very interesting. You've always been that way.
That's why I have a hard time reading.
Well,
it's like books that are beloved by many people. I can't read it because I'm like, okay.
You're not surprised.
That was fun. But so it takes a special author for me to, like, really get engrossed in it. And that's why I like Lee, because when I'm saying I'm not surprised, there are surprises. I can't predict exactly where she's going.
Mm-hmm.
There are hints, and I know she wants us to think certain things, but it's always, like, the answer is always surprising.
You've caught on to the way that, like, I mean, you've just caught, like, it's kind of like, I don't know, like, you understand Lee's writing and the way that it happens a little bit more, like, I mean, and the way that the flow goes, like, I mean, more than I think just typical readers would. And maybe that has to do with it. Like, did you used to like to write? And
yeah.
So,
but I'm hyperlexic. Like, I started reading when I was 2. And I've always been in love with the English language from a very, very early standpoint. And I started reading very difficult things very, very early on.
My God, yeah. Your first book was Interview
So,
with the Vampire.
My first major adult novel.
Well, yeah.
So, and I took courses in writing and tearing things apart, and yeah. So
I loved
it's just everyone has their thing, and that's my thing. So that's why I like to read, but also why I don't like to read. That's why I'm very picky about what I read.
Well, I get it. Like, I mean, like you and Chris are very similar. Like Chris loves to read but hates to read because Chris has an obsessive mind where he starts a book and if he likes it, he can't put it down till he finishes it.
Oh, yeah.
He also is a speed reader, so he reads a lot faster than I do. I've always loved literature, and like I loved it, and I've especially like I don't know. I remember like being so like I loved taking the literature classes like tests in high school. I was excited for them. Especially the exams, like I was really good at like writing essays and things like that. I haven't written in so long, but I was like, I just enjoyed it. I was not good, but I really enjoyed like all the symbolisms and things like that. But anyways, we've got 3 more chapters, and I think we still have plenty of more stuff left. So anyways,
and I'm sure we need to
wrap it up.
Wrap it on up.
Yes. So, okay. Well,
it's been fun.
It has been, and we are so excited. Just for next week, because we're gonna be finishing this up.
Yep.
So, okay. Well, you all be good. We love you all. Long live the Grishaverse.
Like we're at the end of the hour, so my voice is a little husky. A+.
No mourners.
No funerals.
This has been GrishaCast. Connect with us on the web at GrishaCast.com. Send an email to info@GrishaCast.com.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at GrishaCast.
Yay! And thank you to our amazing, amazing staff, Chris, Michelle, Alex, and Brenda.